please like and subscribe.
Okay, so here's how I thought we might do things today, guys. And I know I've been a little bit kind of not secretive really about how we would do this, but there's two divisions that most of the people in this podcast care about, and that would be the AFC East and the AFC West. So we're going to do those last. Okay. So the first division I want to talk about is the NFC East. So since this is the good, the bad, the ugly, let's do it like this. Who do you think is going to win the NFC East?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
The who?
Tampa Bay.
They're not in the East.
Oh shit! I have it.
It's either the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, or Washington.
Yes,
Man, we're getting off to a great start.
I don't know why. Like you said, the AFC East, right?
No, that's gonna be last. NFC East.
Oh,
Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, or
Washington football team.
Washington.
yeah, Washington football team, which is still funny to me. So I'll go ahead and go first. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win it.
Okay, I was gonna go with the Eagles, but
I think that they're loaded. I think that there's going to be more competition within their division. They are going to play a pretty tough schedule because they won the division last year. But I don't think that they did lose a few key pieces on defense. But I do think for the most part, that's probably the most complete team. Like the team that could have an injury and it wouldn't necessarily completely derail them. So that's who I'm going with the good. You guys all agree, or does anybody have a different opinion?
I would have to say the Eagles. Yes, as long as nobody says the Cowboys.
Davis is going to like this, but I'm going to go out on a whim and say that the Cowboys are going to upset the Eagles, only because I think Jalen Hurts is going to have. I mean, I know it's not a sophomore year, but I see that sophomore slump. You look at the last, 10 quarterbacks that have gone their first trip to the Super Bowl and lost have never gotten back to the Super Bowl.
That's a big time stat right there.
That's a big stat to think about. So I always make fun of a guy in our community, Incredible Hawk. I'm sure you guys know him. He's a big Bengals fan. I said the same thing about Joe Burrow. Burrow lost in his first year, so he's never going back. I think he will be the one to break that. But I don't know. Cowboys look dangerous. It all comes down to how Dak plays and if he doesn't throw too many interceptions. But I think their defense is pretty sound. As much as I hate to say that, because being a Bills fan, you can hate on the Cowboys too. But I can see them upsetting the Eagles in that division.
Okay. Greg, you got an opinion on this?
I'd have to go with the Eagles. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just
Caleb?
Yeah.
Eagles. I think they'll repeat.
You think they'll go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Oh wow.
It's possible. Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. I think that if anybody's going to break that, it's probably going to be Jalen. I feel like that they've got a lot of weapons around him, but they have some new weapons in Swift in there, and Sanders went to Carolina, and so we'll have to see how all that meshes and things like that. So the bad in this, so we'll go good, bad, the ugly. The bad is, who do you think is going to be in the middle? And I'll just straight up tell you, Cowboys and then Giants is how I look at it. Because I think the Cowboys do have a chance of winning that division, but I'm going to put them second, Giants third.
I agree.
I think it's 1 and 2 that are up for grabs. I think 3 would be the Giants, 4 would be obviously Washington.
Yeah, so Washington is the ugly one because I hate their team name. But 2, it's also really, really weird to me that Bieniemy would leave Kansas City to go to Washington, which I don't even really feel like is a lateral move, except you get out from underneath the shadow of Andy Reid. But there's already been issues in the preseason with Bieniemy and some of the players going to Ron Rivera saying he's too mean and this and that. And there was a little bit of that in Kansas City that always got squashed. But I think there may end up being some truth there that maybe he's not really a player's coach. So we'll see what happens in that division. So for the most part, we all agree either Eagles, Cowboys, and then Giants, Washington.
Yeah.
We can get behind
There's a
that.
chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance that Washington's going to change their name back to the Redskins.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I
Huh.
saw a petition out there. I don't really know how that works. So
So,
they'll always be the Redskins to me just because I'm old and I don't do change very well. So that's just how it's going to be. All right, NFC North. You got the Bears, Lions, Vikings, and Packers. Who do you guys think is going to be the good out of that?
The Packers.
I got the Lions.
Ooh,
Lions.
Wow.
I agree with the Lions.
I'd say Packers.
I think the Packers.
I think the Packers are going to get bust. I think Jordan Love is going to be a complete bust.
So, Dan, you and I are exactly right. I picked the Packers last in that division this year.
Wow.
I
I don't know
do.
about
Yeah.
that.
Sorry,
They're-
Bearded.
Oh,
I
the
don't think
Bears.
they're going to be as good as people are giving them.
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing, too. I think this is the division that's the most up for grabs. I think any one of those teams that get on a hot streak and they beat each other up a little bit could come out and win this division. But I'm going to say that the Lions take a little bit of a step backwards, and I'm going to go with the Bears, actually, and see if they can't make that happen. I think their GM has made some
Fields.
pretty underrated moves on defense, and I don't know if their quarterback Fields is going to be good enough or not, but I just feel like that division's pretty weak, and it's ripe for the taking for the Lions to take it, but I also don't trust Jared Goff. So I've actually got the Bears winning it. I'm not even a Chicago fan, so yeah. So I figured that might be an unpopular pick, but so who's everybody else got winning it?
I still am going
Lions.
with Packers.
Yeah, Packers.
Really? I just don't think the Packers are going to be there. So I'm writing this down. We're gonna look at this
Oh,
when
of
the
course
season's
you are.
over.
Yeah, do it. Yes, we must know.
So obviously, I've got the Lions second and the Vikings third. I think that it very well could end up being Lions, Vikings, then Bears. I just think this
Oh,
division's.
Ah,
Yeah. I think this division is just so far up in the air. It's hard to say. So
Yeah, I would have to agree. But
all right,
oh yeah.
go ahead.
No, I
You
was
can't-
just going to say I think it's Green Bay, Detroit, Vikings, the Bears.
Well, I'm really hoping Detroit lays an egg on Thursday because they go up against the Chiefs and the Chiefs home opener without Chris Jones. So
Wow.
we'll see what happens.
Dude.
Ugh,
So NFC South.
the Bucks.
No way the Bucks are winning the South. No way.
This
You
one's
don't
a hand me.
You who? Okay, I
Saints.
want to hear who you think. The Saints.
Saints.
I'm going with Saints.
don't
I
so.
think Derek Carr's going to have an awesome year. I think he's got the weapons, and I think he's out to prove something. And I don't believe he was the biggest problem in Las Vegas.
The Saints have like the easiest record on the schedule too. I'm telling you right now, they will win that division by multiple games and
Yeah,
win the playoffs. So
I agree with you. I saw something on that. I forget they only play. Caleb, maybe you saw the same thing. They only play like two quarterbacks all year that I forget what it was. Have like finished in the top 5 or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it's the
pretty
schedules for all of them are really, really weak, but the Saints is especially weak. And I think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna win that division. Now they may get smashed in the first round of the playoffs, but because I think that division is super sad.
Trash.
But yeah, trash. There you go, Caleb. But so I've got the Panthers coming in second, at the Falcons third, and then the ugly for me is the Bucks, because I don't think they have anything.
Yeah, I actually do. I think their quarterback, Trask, is gonna. Yeah,
I
think so.
I can't get
Write
behind
it
that.
down. Write it down because I feel like I'm right. I
Oh,
really
it's-
feel like I'm right on this
I'm
one.
gonna put your initials right next to the Bucks.
Yep.
I
we'll come back
can't.
to them.
Yeah. So you want to make a bet on this, Holly?
I would, yeah, because it's.
Let's-
I won't bet against anything with the Rams. So yes,
Let's
I
bet
bet
some DFS Mafia on it.
I was
sold.
just about to say, let's do that.
Sold.
All right. How much? What are we
I
betting?
don't know. I'll whatever you think. I'll bet it.
$100 of DFS Mafia.
Sold.
Okay, so
What's the bet?
here's
Okay, wait,
What's the
who's
bet?
yours though? Wait, time
okay,
out.
so here's the deal.
deal.
I'm picking the Saints. You're
Okay.
picking the Bucks. And if
Yes.
neither one of them wins it, it's a draw. We don't pay.
Okay.
I win.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
I'm gonna
Caleb
say-
doesn't.
Remember this. Write it down.
What'd you say, Dan?
I said we should just do whoever finishes higher in the division.
There you
Good
go.
with that?
Oh yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go ahead and buy your $100 worth of DFS Mafia now, so I can have more tokens when it skyrockets. So my tokens will be worth more, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
All right. So NFC West.
Hey, that's mine.
Anthony's
That's your division, Holly. Are you picking the Rams?
I want to. I mean, my heart is picking the Rams. I will always pick the Rams.
Don't bet on that one.
No.
Yeah. I will never bet on my team because I feel like I jinx them. So I just made it, but I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
I'm right there with you. That's who I'm picking in this division. Especially after Stafford came out or his wife came out and said that he can't gel with the young kids, and she's got flashcards with their faces on it. It's so hilarious. Like this guy like starburst and all this stuff on the back, and he's like, and then he'll tell her the name of the person.
Yeah, I just read that. It was
You know there's got to be flashcards in that locker room now. I was telling Caleb that off camera. I was like, there's flashcards where there's some people are like making fun of this deal.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I think they lost like 24-0 last game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see
Or
what
actually,
happens.
it might have been even more than that. But they didn't score nothing.
Well, they went all in to win a Super Bowl, and the salary cap ramifications are catching up to them big time right now. So, all right, so let's get.
Are the Rams going to be better than the Cardinals?
Yes.
I was gonna say,
Yeah. So I've got.
Arizona. Like I'm
got-
a Cardinals fan.
I hope so. I mean,
No.
I've got Rams third and Cardinals fourth, but that might be a little closer than people think too. Although I think the Cardinals are probably the worst team in the NFL.
Who? The Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Oh, I would agree.
Yeah,
Underdogs.
it might be a tie between the two.
Yeah.
It'll be a race to see who can get the quarterback out of USC.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to the AFC where the Super Bowl winner is going to come out of. And I think we can all but Holly agree with that. We just may not agree on the same team. So let's go AFC North. Got Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals. Who you guys think is going to win that division?
The Bangs.
Bengals.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else has got the firepower. I believe the Ravens will come in second. If they can somehow beat them twice, then maybe they can win that division. But I do think that if the Ravens win the division, then the Bengals are still getting in a wild card. I think that just means the Ravens had an outstanding year, and I think their record will be good enough to get into there. Who you guys got picked? Go ahead.
Ravens almost beat the Bengals last year with their third string quarterback.
Yeah,
It's a close game. So
I was rooting for it.
Yeah.
Who do you think's coming in last? Let's just go straight to that.
I think the Steelers.
Okay.
I'm
They could have killed Aaron Donald.
I think they're gonna have not a good year. I'll say the Steelers are gonna have like a 10-7 year.
That's
Yeah,
not bad.
I was thinking 9-8, 10-7, something like that too. I picked the Browns to come in last just because they're the Browns, and until they do something different,
Flush
I'm
it
always
down.
going to pick them last.
No, I don't know. I think the Browns might surprise us. I really do.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I'm not making a bet on that one.
Lots of jokes.
Let's say that again.
Yeah.
I said I'm holding back on the Deshaun Watson jokes.
Yeah, we'll just leave that alone. I don't know if we've got that edit button quite ready for that or not. So let's go AFC South.
Oh, that's easy. Jags.
Yeah, I think it's easy too.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody.
I
I
got
think
money on the
that's
team.
you got money on the Jags. So I think the real question is, who do you guys think is coming in second in that
I
division?
don't know. I feel like this division's up for grabs. Ugh.
This division's not very strong either, but
Yeah.
I think second place could be interesting.
I think
The Texans.
Hard to say.
I don't know. Titans quarterback situation bothers me.
Yeah, I think.
I think
Yeah,
the Colts are just they're going to be horrible, and I think the Texans are going to be horrible. So I think, I don't know, I will go Titans second.
That's exactly where I went. I went Titans second, Colts third, and then I think the Texans have a chance of being the worst team right there with the Cardinals. So that division is
They need a lot
not.
more.
Yeah, that division's not very. It's very top heavy with the Jags, and then everybody else I think is going to be horrible. So, but the NFL has a way of proving me wrong. So that's why I don't live in a penthouse, and because of that. So who knows? We'll see. All right, so we'll go AFC East, which I know this division has a very soft spot in your heart, Dan. Who are you picking to win the AFC East?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Bills.
You know, honestly, I was gonna, even if you weren't, I would have went for the Bills. I think.
Okay.
What I like about this season, even though the AFC East is stacked and everybody's stacking the AFC East, the difference from last year to this year is two things. One, we have at some point we're having entirely healthy defense that we did not have from the beginning of last year, because Micah Hyde went out week 2, was out for the whole season. Hoyer was battling an injury all year. Von Miller went down in the first half of the season. Our secondary, our star 3 in the secondary haven't played a game together in like 675 days or something crazy, almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think with the pressure off of them being the expected Super Bowl champs like they were last year, now they're playing more of like an underdog style, and I think that'll fuel them.
Yeah, I agree with you, and there's something to be said about that underdog style too, because even though I think that Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of credit, he's always trying to find ways to become the underdog so he can use that billboard material. And I think sometimes when it's expected, sometimes the moment gets too big for people, and rightfully so, especially when you're dealing with injuries and things like that. We had that with the Chiefs a couple years ago. We made it to the Super Bowl, but our offensive line was horrid. By the time we actually got there, I think we had one starter that was healthy, and we were playing a bunch of backups and got destroyed by the Buccaneers. So I guess the question then is, who comes in second?
This, I think, all relies on if Tua is healthy.
Okay.
If Tua stays healthy, we think the Dolphins take second.
Same.
If he's not healthy, then I see the Jets. I think Patriots are finishing last in this division.
I agree with you 100%. Although I'm going to switch it on you. I think that you're looking at it all hinges on how Aaron Rodgers does. Like, I do agree that Tua being healthy is super important. But we've seen a Green Bay quarterback go to New York before. I feel like I've seen this story. And I'm not saying it'll be the same, but I just don't know that that's going to work. You start throwing all those pieces together, there's something to be said about a team. I think when you look at, we'll change sports for a second, but when you look at when the Royals won the World Series, they didn't have the megastars on that team. They had like a team, 25 guys that loved one another and went to war with one another every day, and they just fed off one another. When you start signing huge contracts, and even when you can take health out of it, a lot of times you see these, especially in baseball, these giant payrolls do nothing. So I don't know how well they're going to mesh in New York. I'm with you, though. I picked the Dolphins second, the Jets third, and then the Pats to mop up that division. So
basement feeder.
What's that?
I said the basement feeder.
Yeah, and which I'm all good about too, because for too many years we had to watch the Patriots go to the Super Bowl.
Too many.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't hate the Bills, but my childhood memory, one of my first football, it wasn't my very first, but one of my memories, I was probably a senior in high school when this happened, was I believe it was Darryl Talley with the Bills giving Joe Montana a concussion in the AFC Championship game, and I've hated them ever since. As we had not made it to the AFC Championship game since we won Super Bowl IV, and we finally made it, and then Joe Montana goes out with a concussion, and the whole game ended up being a blowout, and I was mad, and it ruined my next month of life, and so I've kind of hated the Bills ever since. But so let's go to the AFC West. Who do we think's winning the AFC West?
Should be the Chiefs. Would think.
The Raiders.
Oh,
Oh,
damn.
I got the Raiders as the ugly. I have them being the dead last team in the
Turn her off.
AFC
I'm gonna
West.
turn you off.
Well, I just this division isn't that strong either. The Broncos, the
I think
Chargers.
the Broncos are going to
played pretty
be
well.
improved over last year, though. I think the Chargers are the second team in that division.
Yeah, I would go
But I will tell you, injuries played a little bit of a part in their demise and some things like that, too. I don't know that they had their two studs at wide receiver healthy, except for like 3 games all year at the same time. So I think it's going to be harder than people think. I'm going to pick the Chiefs, but I think the Chargers are going to be right there. And I have a feeling the Chargers and Chiefs may split that because for whatever reason, the Chargers seem to be able to come to Kansas City and beat us. I don't know if it's every year, but it seems like it's every year. And so I'm going to have the Chiefs winning that, but I don't know that it would not shock me, I guess, if the Chargers came out of that division, especially depending on how long Chris Jones holds out for. If he doesn't come back till week 8, we may have 3 or 4 losses already.
That's true.
Whoa.
Because he basically is our pass rush, except for when we blitz. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Dan? I know you
I'm ready
love the
to-
Chiefs.
I still think the Chiefs take it, but same thing. Would not be surprised if the Chargers end up squeaking them out. I think it's all going to come down to because I think Mahomes has less weapons now, even from last year. So if all of a sudden they start getting injury riddled on their wide receiving core, or God forbid something like Travis Kelce goes down, then I
Right.
think they're in trouble. I think there's too much, and then obviously the Chris Jones situation, but there's too much like 1 or 2 major injuries on the Chiefs offense could really derail everything. Whereas, I mean, obviously the quarterback situation for either team is the same, but
Sure.
you look at who the Chargers have, if they lose, a wide receiver, they've got another wide receiver that's just as equally as good between, Williams and Allen. They got Austin Eckler. I just think that this year they are going to be better than they were. I think they'll be a little bit more responsible in their offense. So I don't know. I gotta say I still think the Chiefs take it, but I think it'll be closer than people think.
So let's ask one last question then, because I really want to get into our interview here with you, Dan. One last question: who's coming out of the AFC? Or first, let's do this. Who's the number 1 seed in the AFC?
See, this is where it comes down to. I think that it all depends. I could see the Chiefs taking the number 1 seed if they have the type of season that people are expecting. But then at the same time, if the Chiefs struggle at all, I think it'll end up being whoever wins the AFC East, which could be the Bills. I think the Bills take it, but I mean there's a couple teams that really have a tough schedule. The Bills are, I think, ranked like number 6 for the toughest schedule in the league. So same thing with the Jets. The Jets, they start out like that Monday Night Football game is everything, because if the Jets lose, then I think they got like Kansas City, Dallas, Philly. They've got like 5 really hard games in the first like 6 weeks, so they could snowball really quick. But
See,
I think
so I'm wondering if somebody like the Jags don't snag the number 1 seed just because of how poor their division is. I don't know if that'll work out that way or not, but I'm curious if this year, if we don't get somebody like that as the number 1 seed. I don't think the Jags have what it takes to get to the Super Bowl, but I could see them being the number 1 seed and then getting beat in the next round, depending on who those matchups would be. So, do we have a Super Bowl matchup prediction? Greg, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
So hard.
Chiefs for sure.
Okay, Chiefs versus who?
Bengals.
The guy can't be the Super Bowl chief.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, hold on.
And this is where you woke up and realized this was all a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
Actually,
we just lost.
Greg.
Yeah, the
just
Packers. Packers.
Greg, quit smoking
Bro,
crack.
That was last year's guess.
Well, I know
Yeah,
I
that's
want
what
it
you
really
said
bad
last
though,
year.
because my sister's family are hard. They're all hardcore cheeseheads, so I would love to see the Chiefs.
Well, they're going to
whoop
have a
them
really
in the Super
long
Bowl.
year.
And I want them to celebrate like the 49ers did and then lose. That'd be great.
Wow.
Caleb, who do you think's in the Super Bowl?
I'll say repeat. Chiefs, Eagles.
And who's winning?
Chiefs. Hopefully.
Okay.
Get there, they better win.
Holly,
Just
who
gotta
do you
say it.
think's in the Super Bowl?
No,
Don't say the Rams.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I want to so bad, but I'm not. But I do think that the 49ers may actually be in there.
Oh,
Versus who?
another.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm like,
49ers all over our quarterback situation. If Purdy can put up a type of year like he did last year, then they're favorites. But who knows?
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
All right, Dan, who are you picking in the Super Bowl?
It's too hard for me.
I got the Bills and the Cowboys. The Bills winning. Redemption.
Wow.
Super Bowl.
I think
Redemption,
the Bills
yeah.
have a good chance too. They really do.
All right, so I know what my heart tells me to say. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go with the Chiefs. But I think they're going to play the 49ers. I don't know about the quarterback situation, but I think their defense is tough. I think their division is eh. And I think that if Purdy can just not turn the ball over, then they might be okay. I just can't see the Chiefs winning back-to-back Super Bowls because that's just not in my cards as a Chiefs fan. I was a fan before like Marty Schottenheimer when we couldn't win 2 games in a year. And so I'm used to disappointment, except for the last few years, and I've been shocked, and I just can't see them winning it. But I'm going to pick them anyways. I can't help it. So
I've got a little extra prediction for you. So I
Okay.
predicted it last year, and it almost happened, except for that DeMar Hamlin situation screwed it up. So I predicted the way the Bills get over the hump against Kansas City is the Bills win the AFC or the AFC. The Chiefs have to come to Buffalo, and that's where Allen beats up on Mahomes in the playoffs. They go to the Super Bowl and win it, and that's how we do.
do you think that's because of weather, or do you think that's because of just
I think
home
it's
field?
just. I mean, the weather. Both stadiums are loud. Both stadiums are
Cold in
super
January.
cold. So, I mean, it's horrible weather, but I think it's just the atmosphere. Like being in a Bills game and having them behind the team. I think everybody wants it. Everybody was trying to hope for it for last year. That was why it was such a big deal about what are we going to do about the rankings for home field advantage for the AFC Championship game if it came down to the Bills versus the Chiefs, because the Bills didn't lose and had the number 1 seed going into that game against the Bengals, and they never lost. They won 7 straight games and they held the number 1 seed. Yes, we don't know what the outcome would have been against the Bengals, but I think that was the thing, is that the Bills and the Bengals both beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but yet then the Chiefs got the number 1 seed by default.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see this being a little storyline the NFL feeds off of. Nobody's scripted.
Hasn't the Chiefs hosted the AFC Championship game like 4 years in a row now or something like that?
I think
Which
so.
they
Yeah.
never hosted before until that streak started. Or maybe, how many years,
I think
Caleb?
it's
5?
5.
Yeah, because they
5.
lost to New England in the first one.
Yeah.
And then they beat, I don't remember who they beat to go to the Super Bowl the first time when they won it. I don't know. And then they lost, or then they beat, wow, I can't remember who they played in the
Lost to
AFC Championship
Cincinnati.
game also.
Mhm.
Yeah, they lost to Cincinnati when they didn't go to the Super Bowl. And then they beat,
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati and somebody else.
Well, they
'Cause
beat
the Bills- Yeah.
Tennessee?
Well, was
years
the
back?
Bills Chiefs game where all those points were scored? That wasn't the AFC Championship game, was
Oh,
it?
that was the divisional round. The year
Yeah.
before, is when we lost. You had the picture of Diggs watching you guys celebrate,
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yes.
and then the next year was the shootout game.
Yeah, and
Under
then we
13
lost to
seconds.
Cincinnati that same year, I think, in the next round. But yeah, we won't go into that seam route that Kelsey and Hill both ran, but yeah, unbelievable. I still
fun
see it on
game.
feeds.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the good, the bad, the ugly. Like I said, a little bit different this week, a little bit longer this week, but we're gonna get our picks out there. Now we got some DFS Mafia bet on some things. So Holly, I
Yeah.
wish you no luck, and I hope to take all of your DFS Mafia by the end of it.
I'm Caleb. Please like and subscribe.